Hey, hey, good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday. I get the thumbs up from Jake every Wednesday morning, getting ready for training on Friday. And even better, the pitch competition the next Friday, July 24th. Join me. The winner will get free coaching from me, as well as some other prizes. I love it. I can't wait. It's the 2 minute drill. You get 2 minutes to pitch me. I give you 3 minutes of feedback. Pick the top three, and we move on from there. This Friday, training is about networking. Your network is your net worth. Ever heard that? Well, I'm going to teach you all the tricks and trades. I love seeing my daughter on here. Good morning, Mia, my dear. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it as well as I do everyone else. Thank you. Thank you so much. Uh, Andrew is here. All right. We got right into it, huh? We got Andrew here. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know. Let's join me. And looking forward to seeing what Andrew has going on. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm fast.
Right in between the sip. What's going on?
How's it going, David?
It's going great. I went on with Gary Vaynerchuk one time, and literally, you wait and you wait. You know how it is. And all of a sudden, it's like I was so hungry, I had to take that bite of my
Really?
energy bar, and it was like chocolate.
That's how I feel whenever I'm joining a call for whatever reason. There's always food somewhere on my desk, and I'm always like mid-bite the second that we've been waiting like 3 or 4 minutes, and then they finally join when you're like chewing or going to the bathroom.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, how's it going?
It's going really, really well.
Good.
Thank you. How about you? Where
Good.
are you?
Los Angeles.
Oh, you're right down the street from me. So yeah, I'm down in
Yeah.
Orange County, and
Nice.
it's here in California, it's so weird because it's from the very beginning in March. I told my team, I said, here's how I look at this.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to get this disease. We have to protect the people that are at risk, and we have to protect our hospitals from being
Right.
overloaded, because then that puts people that aren't at risk, that have normal, heart attacks and things that happen in life, babies and other things. And so here we
Yeah.
are, and it's July, and I never thought we'd be back into the same place. I
Yeah.
thought, and now I'm
That's
all,
what kills me about hearing about Florida. I mean, the top trending news story of the day today, even though it was the same yesterday and the day before on LinkedIn, is about how Florida and specifically the Miami-Dade County is the epicenter of the world's pandemic. And when I think about Florida, all I think about is my grandma, my girlfriend's grandparents, all these people that I know. You know, it's just it's it's too much. A lot of old people and not a lot of safety precautions, it sounds like.
yeah. I will tell you the biggest lesson of 2020 for me, which was pre-COVID,
Right.
is this idea of acceleration and exponential growth. And your career really is indicative of this. And I've always taught it on the positive side of, hey, you need to be patient and have faith because things double. And, if you segment things out, I'll use 30 segments. If I told you
Right.
your 30 segments of growth from being where you want to be in business, in life, and whatever it is, here's the problem with segmentation is that, things double and grow, right? And,
Yeah.
and we see that with the disease, right? We see that with the hospital capacity. And here's the problem. If I told people it's 30 segments to get to where you want, when will you be halfway there? Almost everyone immediately says, well, in 15 segments, I'll be halfway there. That's not how exponential growth and acceleration works. You're not halfway there until 29 segments,
Yeah.
right? Because it
Yeah, because
doubles.
and you need to adapt and change based on the first, 28, 29 lessons that you've learned from those segments. To
Yeah.
get to the 30th, to be like, listen, we've seen that. We're going to step around all these things and just jump right to the last one.
Yeah, and you saw that, the spring break in March has now exponentially grown to the old
Right.
age homes and the capacity that they're feeling. And then meanwhile, New York took the long-term faithful patient approach, and they
Yep.
had they had zero deaths yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why New Zealand kicked off their sporting events again, I think a month and a half, 2 months ago, because they shut down the country straight as the first coronavirus case hit there. I think it was Taiwan, one of the Southeast Asian countries, just had another major sporting event in think it was baseball or something, where they let fans into the stadium because their country eradicated the disease. And
Yeah.
if we have things like this where it's, oh, some bar, I mean, you're in the OC, right? So I remember I was down in Hermosa recently and bars and restaurants were open. And I was like, what is going on down here?
Yeah.
You
I
know?
I closed back down. We went remote again before July 4th because
Right.
I was blessed to have three teenage daughters, 21, 19, and 16,
Yeah.
and they're educated, intelligent, caring people.
Right.
And I could see the ignorance that teenagers had where, well, the bars are open, Dad. You know, why won't you
Right.
let me go? And I'm thinking, gosh, if my girls are asking why can't they go to the bars for July 4th or to the beach to July 4th,
Yeah.
what are other kids thinking? And it's reasonable for me, right? It's
Yeah.
what's difficult for me is like grown-ups that are, taking a political stance on protecting other people and think,
Yeah.
I get, look, you have your human rights, right? I
Right.
understand, but why can't we take the perspective of, hey, let's all be kind to our future selves and do good deeds. And look, if you don't share your germs or receive germs, will cut down the numbers. It's not a matter of somebody's making you, right?
Exactly.
We're asking you to be kind. We're asking you to be kind. And
Exactly.
people take this, I'm a lion, not a sheep. I'm a lion,
Yeah,
not a
I
sheep.
work out every day. I'm not going to get sick. Blah, blah. Yeah, well, maybe you might not, but if someone sneezes on your shirt and you walk into your grandparents' house, they might get sick.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. So it's really interesting. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. Tell me
Sure.
about what you have going on business wise.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is exciting. Instagram lives are always a ton of fun. But yeah, I mean, so the the overall is there is, and especially right now, it's very topical. But the overall is in China, right? In China, you don't have Instagram, you don't have Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Google,
Google.
YouTube, Spotify, every single platform that we use daily, out for hours. I mean, you and I are on Instagram almost all day long, but you don't have these channels simply because they're up behind a firewall. And right now, it's interesting because America, the Secretary of State and Trump are talking about banning Chinese apps from America, right? So it's kind of like you get this flip vertical of here we have China's platforms, or horizontal, I should say, and here we have American, and there's just this huge divide between the two. With that said, because they don't have access to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and use VPNs to use them, primarily they're not spending an extra 20 minutes a day to get into their VPN and use Instagram. Instead, they're using the platforms that truthfully have 400 million, 500 million, 800 million users on each of these platforms, right? There's Weibo, which is like their Facebook Twitter spinoff, has 500 million users. Some accounts with 30, 40 million people following them, similar to Instagram. They're, the Tencent owned QQ Music, which today, it's kind of like, I would say, Apple Music, Spotify, it's their own version of the music DSP, has 800 million users. So what my team does, and I was in music management before, I was working with Jessie J. She was on a TV show in China called Singer. And she ended up winning the program, being the first international artist. And we were living in China for 4 months a few years ago. And it opened my eyes to when we were learning, we were like, what is this platform with 500? How can we not get on Instagram today? How do we promote this? And opened my eyes to that there was this marketplace, right, where David, you probably have fans in China that may or may not have been connected with, depending on how you're marketing yourself over in China. And so we identified those platforms. My team has identified how to develop in that space, and what we do is we build anyone with a digital influence, we build their platforms over in China and their business, that they can have a brand, they can have a business, they can tour the market, their ticket sales and movies will be bigger. I mean, we're doing it with models, musicians, influencers, actors, artists, everything from the ground up.
Yeah, I found it so intriguing because I went over to China in '99
Yeah.
Came back over again, worked with Cena, Weeble, Tencent, Sports One Marketing. We covered the
I'm sure
shoulder content for the NBA, for the Lakers, the Clippers,
the
all the
NBA,
shoulder.
the second biggest market's China.
Yeah, and I
You know,
saw Steph
well,
Marbury,
yeah,
right? That was my experience. I was like, wait a second, I could brand myself. Steph Marbury and I kind of share the same frequency as far as
right.
level of popularity, right? The D-lister of the NBA, the D-lister of sports business. But
But then
it,
massive in China.
massive, like
Yeah.
people could not even imagine. And so, it is such a huge market. It's interesting because, I'm so interested in talking to you guys about this because I
Yeah.
have built a brand with Cena Weeble as a sports
Amazing.
business executive, and which is people don't realize how big it is.
Right.
And yet we're so worried about the content on this side of the pond. And,
Right.
TikTok specifically, I think is the one that's the most at jeopardy right now, especially with what India did and the political
Yes.
atmosphere behind what's going on. So, how do you though build a brand in China? Because so many people, I've been there for a long time, so I understand the relationships. They have
Yeah.
this kind of mystical objection or interference of, oh, I'd be wasting my time,
Right.
doing this because they're just going to shut me down.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So something that we do, I like to say we do it very well because I'm confident in the work. But like you said, we do develop. I mean, you started in 1999 and you were over there.
Yeah.
You were meeting with the players, you were meeting with the teams, you were meeting with the platforms. I mean, that was before Sina Weibo was really a thing. I mean, it wasn't launched, I think, until 2006, 2009 or
Yeah.
something.
9, I
But
think.
Sina was a conglomerate, right? So what we do is, yes, we launch all the channels. We start from ground zero. We're starting with 0 followers on Weibo. We're starting with 0 followers on Douyin, which is the Chinese version of TikTok. And a lot of people don't know that even though TikTok is owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company, there's 2 separate verticals. They have the one that you can only access in China and the one that people can only access outside of the world, which is TikTok. And I don't know if TikTok's going to be banned. I don't know if the government is literally one day you're going to log into TikTok and it's just you're not going to be able to access your channels. I don't know, but with that said, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to win for people like you, for people with digital influence, especially athletes that want to truly be a global success. It's funny because I get a lot of artists that come to us and they go, well, I just made Spotify's New Music Friday. And I go, cool, that has 3 million followers. And while that might be the biggest thing in the music industry for yourself in America, you're reaching 3 million people in the US, which is 0.0003, 0.03% of the world's population,
And that is what I learned from being there since 1999 is the
How
size,
big?
scope, scale of the world is. Like I was talking to one of my executive coaching clients today, and I
Yeah.
said, here's the difference of my following now is that I had a clip from the Super Bowl, Jorge Masvidal and I,
Amazing.
and I had 200. Let me estimate. I hate numbers, but let's just say
Yeah.
250,000 engaged watchers, right? Because I'm not like a dancing bear on TikTok. People
Right.
don't just watch. Like if you're going to watch a Dave Meltzer something, you're interested. It's because it's
Exactly.
not entertaining.
There's a reason why you have 356,000 followers.
Right. Yeah. It's an education. I'm an educational person
Yeah.
and inspirational. So the interesting thing is we've lost perspective, right?
Right.
Of these numbers. It's like I told my client, I go, do you know how many? If 250,000 people watch my entire video from end to end and are educated, you know how many stadiums that is?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
who in 1999, who would have come? How many people would come to one stadium to watch a 15-minute speech of David Meltzer? Right. That was it. And then when you talk in China,
Yeah.
the numbers. So you don't have to have billions of people. You don't have to even have millions. Now you bring up a really important part why music is so important. The reason I don't invest a ton into my Chinese brand is that I believe that we have to, one, be able to truly inspire, but two,
Yes.
how do you monetize it, right? To pay for it. Meaning
Right.
in America, people will pay for executive coaching and speaking and all
Yeah.
these other things. But, I can't even handle the amount of interest that is here in the United States.
Exactly.
But a musician, the music plays everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's, it's funny you bring that up. So we work with an artist named Youngblood. He's a British pop rock artist. He crushes it. He truthfully is his own person, and he, despite having never touched foot on the ground in China, we did a 10-cent QQ live event. He reached 225,000 live stream viewers on a live stream.
Yeah.
Never touched ground, doesn't have the biggest presence in the world, is not a superstar in China, and 225,000 people tuned into his live stream.
That's a really big deal.
It's a big deal, and that converts. And when we talk about monetization, just like on Spotify, when you get paid for 1 million streams, you're getting paid in China. Granted, it's a lot smaller because they've just come out of piracy just a few years ago, so it's still developing. But eventually it's going to be there. Now what it does is it goes, listen, we have 225,000 people turning in for a 30-minute live stream. We're going to go play 5 cities in China.
Yeah. Right. And the same as an athlete with, an endorsement deal. It's like you get these people over there that now you go and you can show there's an audience, and all of a sudden you get a tennis shoe deal that's ungodly compared to an American one.
and you never hear about it here.
Never.
It's the biggest
like
thing
Steph,
in the world,
Steph Marbury, look at the deals he's had over the last 20 years. And I guarantee you kids are probably Googling who Steph Marbury is right now. And I'm going to tell you, next to Yao Ming and LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, Steph is right up there.
He's up there.
Probably well known, and he's a decent NBA player at his time. So where can people find you? I'm sure there's gonna be a ton of people that want to learn more about what you guys do.
Sure. So handles obviously at the top left of the viewing page, but then our business is East Goes Global. We're going global. We're taking everything east.
All right, you're going to take Dave Meltzer, you're going to grow my brand in China. People will be inspired to be happy even in China. That's my goal.
Let's do it.
All right.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Bye.
See you soon. Stay healthy, Andrew. Pretty interesting stuff, right? Check out. You can see Andrew Spolter right there. And what they do is incredible. So all my athletes, celebrities, entertainers, inspirers, that's someone to reach out to. You are not taking advantage of the world stage if you're not using people like Andrew to help build our brands worldwide and inspire others to inspire others. Awesome. All right, Jake Big, who's next on the list here? I'm gonna answer a quick question while you tell me who's next. In your opinion, what is the bottom line reason for networking? Layup question for my networking training on Friday. I'm gonna teach on networking. Networking is to create the flow. I know this might sound interesting, but networking is to understand the connection of what you're connected to, the source of light, love, and lessons that you're connecting to, and the ability to allow it to come through you with appreciation for others, empowering others to empower others, right? It's the sharing of what we're talking about, that network, that allows us to do that. And so important. And I think networking is so easy with a few techniques that we're going to go over. When you get clear in the objective of connecting to others and not only providing service of value to others, but asking them, do you know anyone that can help me? And creating this flow, creating an expansive universe of more than enough. That's the key. Exactly. Biggest dummy tax you paid recently. Still ego, radical humility, and with my own family, just dummy tax of not focusing in on the values I have. There's Palmer. All right, cool. I'm gonna jump off of there real quick. I'll jump to more questions. All right, this is a good morning, Wednesday morning. Remember, join me Friday. My numbers are below. There he is. Welcome.
David Meltzer, the legend.
Dude, you have such a cool background there. That's amazing. I'm like, from the side, it looked like God had sent you down to me. That's amazing with the lights.
I'm actually at work. I'm taking a break right now.
No such thing as work, man. Just activity you get paid for.
I love that. Yes, sir. Man, I'm honored to be joining the world's second best white rapper behind Mike Stud. It's Mike Stud and Meltzer.
Oh, you saw that? That's amazing.
I did.
Lisa Nichols and I.
What's that?
My kids, I'm old school though. I wish I would have really in the flow. I didn't have enough Jaeger to get it going, but I'd love to get like the Jaeger Dave rap going, you know. Hey,
Absolutely.
I'm Jaeger Dave. I'm going to make you wave because we are about happiness. So give it to me once, give it to me twice. You got to be happy, but you got to be nice. Be kind to your future self is what I say, because it's going to be an amazing day.
That's right. That's right.
Take
The
that,
cool,
Mike Stud.
yeah, he needs to see that. Coolest 51-year-old on social media by far.
Well, I'm 52 now.
52. Got
There
it.
you go. But thank you. I only look 51. Trevor Moad's on there going, no, man, Dave looks 80. I keep on telling him to take better care of himself. I will tell you, though, don't you think I'm the tannest guy during COVID? Isn't it
Absolutely.
amazing?
Absolutely. I'm down here in Texas, and I'm still not half as tan as you.
Yeah. Well, what do you got going on down there in Texas? Things are crazy there as well.
Yes, sir. So I'm a student athlete at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. And so we got sent home, back during spring break. And so right now I'm just trying to make the best of the opportunity, continue to work out and prep for the season. But our fall season just got canceled. So,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
there's so many kids with things being canceled. And I talked to my wife last night about it. I said, what age group do you think has it easiest? With everything going on. And she really believes that my age group has it the easiest because, we're past the point where like our social lives are about going to bars and
right,
socializing and
right.
hooking up and all
Yeah,
that. And then we also enjoy our kids coming home,
yep,
right?
yep,
And your kids are old enough when you're 52 where I feel bad for the younger parents because it must be so difficult for little kids, and so it's an interesting thing. What do you think's the most challenging thing, when you're sent home and your season maybe canceled, your preseason's canceled, the off seasons are canceled, and you haven't had the experience of really routine and discipline, and you have this enormous, that career is only so long. And for me, like if somebody would have taken away a fall season of mine, it's like, oh my gosh, you've emptied my bank account.
yep. That's right. You played, right? And then I'll answer that. But you
Not as
played
well as
college
you,
ball?
but yeah, not as well as you or Mike, but yeah, I played.
Uh, yeah, that's funny. All right. So, I would say it's one of the biggest lessons that you push, and that would be to not have an ego-based consciousness. And so to consistently wake up every day, and because it's very easy to think, well, the last 3 months we were prepping for a season, and I was putting my heart and energy and effort into preparing for this season. And, I'm about to be a junior, so it's really time to step up and, really take the reins of leadership. And, I was frustrated, but our coach gave us a 24-hour rule and to be pissed about it. And then now it's just, you just got to take it for what it is. And you just have to keep going. And I would say, yeah, because, selfishly, I think about all the, like I said, the time and effort that I put in preparation, but now it's just about consistency and being resilient. And regardless, I've seen so many different posts that you've put up that have just honestly helped me continue to stay with that same positive mindset each and every day. And I mean that. It's probably one of my most beneficial personally accounts that I follow on Instagram because, like I said, it's not easy per se. I mean, there's definitely people in worse positions, but like you said, I mean, it's definitely like a punch to the gut. So I would just say consistency, and then not have an ego-based consciousness.
What's interesting is as you're talking, I remember I was blessed. You could afford summer camp, but one of the guys at the community center, kids couldn't go to Angel Country baseball camp, which Augie Agarito, who's one of the greatest college coaches of all times at Cal State Fullerton at the time, would put on with all the Cal State Fullerton players as the coaches, and they were national champions at the time when I was a little kid. And having the perspective that I had, he was really keen on tee work, right? Like he would rather see you hit off a tee for an hour a day than anything else,
Yep.
And do it right. And at 12 years old, it was really difficult for me because I like to play, right? And I was a speed kid, and it was like all these different things. And then I had an entrepreneur who raised money during COVID. And it reminded me of Augie, reminds me of you, is that, he said, I took like 24 hours to figure out, I'm in the middle of a raise, how I'm going to save my company and raise money. And then I realized that what a great opportunity to show venture capitalists what I'm made of. Right. And his
Absolutely.
revenue's up like 1,094% now during COVID. He increased his revenue that much and he raised millions of dollars because he literally went in and he made it happen. And, you know, a lot of people are going to say, well, I don't have, they're going to put their focus, attention, and intention on all the shortages, voids, and obstacles of what occurred, the season ending, and, you know, that 24-hour period. It's so good that we just, why not give it a time frame? Because it's time, you know, when else are you going to have this much time to prepare?
Exactly. That's
And
exactly right. Never.
we may see the best players ever come out of this period because, you know, instead of just playing, they're preparing.
Yep. Yep. I agree. That's, I mean, you hit every point that, you know, was running through my mind. Exactly. Precisely. I mean, yeah, you just have to see it as an opportunity to get better. And a lot of times phrases like that to 20-year-olds, that can sound cliche and it can sound like you're just thrown against the wall. But when you really internalize that and then you apply it to your life, that's whenever you start to see the change. And I mean, I've seen that just in the last 3 or 4 days since we found out, you know, so.
Yeah, it's also, I think that idea of cliche and quotes, and I was caught yet 2 nights ago. My wife, I was watching Rocky Five for like the 150th time, and
Love
she's
it.
like, "Why the heck are you watching this?" Like, it's I don't know what it is about the repetition
Mm-hmm.
of, you know, some stupid cliche thing that I actually teared up in my eyes watching. It was something like, and I get choked up talking about. I was like, it's not how hard you can hit; it's how hard you can take a hit and keep moving forward, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I get so fired up. And my wife's like, why is that fired up? And because it's so cliche, it's so cheesy, it's so Sylvester Stallone. But yet still, I'm here this morning and I'm thinking about getting hit and moving forward. And I have years of experience of that makes a huge difference in my life where I saw friends, family, associates, they get hit and it's like, why me? Why? And I'm like, try me, mofo. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, I want kids especially to know it makes a difference in life. Like it's an opportunity to feel so good about yourself when you get freaking hit in the
Mm-hmm.
face. Life doesn't happen the way you were promised. You know, I remember crying to my mom in law school when my brother died. I was like, I'm doing everything that I was supposed to do, Mom. Why is this happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was in this world of not enough. Why? My brother died. I lost my law loans. I don't understand. You told me if I studied hard and did all the right things, that everything was going to be okay.
Right.
And that's where you got to move forward. Right. And then no more than 18 months later, I was a millionaire.
Wow.
Right. I was a
Yep.
million, 18 months. And meanwhile, I was this close to being a why me person of going, you know, my brother died of HIV. I lost my law loans. I'm going to be kicked out of school. Right. And it's like people right now, I want them to realize, yeah, you got kicked in the face. Right. You're 20 years old. You're playing college sports and it's not turning out the way right now. But you don't know this is where the 18 months happen. And the ones that take the attitude like you do, watch what happens. And you'll be thanking people when you step on a major league field someday going, yeah, the best thing that happened to me was, you know, having an opportunity to take an assessment of my values and to ask and attract and to do it now and to get seriously focused. Because what I learned during these 3 weeks, 3 months, or whatever amount of time, I've carried over to make greatness out of my life.
Yep. That's exactly right, man. I love that. And, you know, I listened to your podcast a couple weeks ago on a road trip with my family, the one with Trevor Moad. And that was incredible. And then I also saw one of your posts probably a week or so ago. And it was basically the distinction between I have to do this versus I get to do this. And that is life changing. I mean, I think I put it up on my story and I think you saw that, but so many people, you know, slid up and commented about, you know, how true that is. And whenever you really implement that in your life, I believe that's whenever you see change and positivity will be bred from that for sure.
That's awesome. Last thing, and I'm going to let you go. I always like, you know, I'm a big kind to your future self, do good deeds person. You know, for you, out of obviously the content that you watch, you've seen, what's the one thing that I teach that really resonates, like your go-to thing that helps so I can continue to focus in on that to help other people as well?
I would say, you know, whenever you talk and discuss about the frequency and how that can be interfered with the ego-based consciousness, you know, I'm in a family of 8, and so I have 5 other siblings or 6 kids, and not a lot of room for ego because you're going to get called out for it. I'm a middle child, so I'll hear it from my 2 siblings older than me or my 3 below me. But my point is, being in a family like that, and I know you're from a big family too. It really drives home the point that it's bigger than just you, and that people, whenever you're just stuck in that, mundane, just rut of negativity and selfishness and ego, like that's not a life worth living, in my opinion. So I would just say, in order to keep that consistent and positive and beneficial frequency that you talk about, you can't. I mean, I know that one episode with Mike was don't party with your ego, but really you just don't want to go through life with your ego, is my opinion.
Right on. Well, I'm a big fan of Mike Stud and of yours. I know you're on the right journey, and I can't wait to see all the productive, accessible, and gracious things you do with your life. If you need anything at all you got to do is reach out, my friend. I appreciate your support. Work hard, work strong, work long, and you'll get what you want rapidly and accurately. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Right on. Take care.
All right, bro.
All right, Palmer. We got a quick wrap in there, too, so maybe we'll take that clip and do something with it. Feeling it. I don't know what the hell just happened on the bottom here, but that's amazing. Alrighty, Ariel, we have she's welcome. Is she here? Anyway, let me take a quick question. I'm trying to figure out what happened on the bottom of my screen here. Trying to get that going. There we go. All right, I have no idea what I'm doing on the bottom here. Anyway, perfect. Let's take Ariel. I'm trying to see where I'm losing this on the bottom. All right. How do I get to my questions? Let's grab those real quick. My definition of happiness. What is it? My definition of happiness is to enjoy the consistent, that's every day, persistent, that's without quit, pursuit, right? Knowing your values and going forward of your potential. Vote for what you want. What is it you want? Your potential, considering your conscious, subconscious potential and your unconscious potential, what you're born with, generations of inherited potential that you have, lifetimes of inherited potential that you have. What is it that you're going to effectuate and enjoy? And can you find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything you do to live that happiness as we go? Oh, there she is. Ariel, there we go. What great guest today. I'm loving this. I'm loving live. Should have been doing this earlier. Learning lessons, right? There's the dummy tax right there, Blaine. There she is.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, David. And everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
I love it. What's going on behind you? I love the design. Are they balls, flowers?
I don't know. It's whatever your mind makes of it. Beautiful, swirly, cozy things.
So it's interesting you say that, because isn't that true about everything?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I keep telling kids, I'm like, everything that you have in your life was intended, and you're giving meaning to it right now. You're giving meaning to everything that you see, and I love that. Give me a little bit of background on what you have going on right now and how we can help.
Sure. My name is Ariel. I'm a neuroscientist. I teach people about the brain and how your brain can make you scared of the world when you don't need to be, or you can rewire it to be happy. I make this cool device called Muse that helps you meditate. And I'm here to answer any questions anyone has on the brain, happiness, meditation, and just jam with you and enjoy.
Right on. I got a lot of questions, because for me, the brain works within 3 consciousnesses, right? I believe I have this data input series called my conscious, that I use my senses and my memory to have about 10,000 of these data inputs a day that then go to my subconscious, where I think it's an intermediate memory of 40,000 of the same thoughts that I can access and continue to strengthen, that create neural pathways in my mind.
Yeah.
And then I might get more woo-woo than most people, but I believe we have a quantum memory, a truly hard drive, the DNA directed memory that could be from multiple lifetimes. But for sure, I know from generations at least that have passed down different potentials that I have some that are easier than others, and obsessions and addictions and characteristics, etc. And within that continuum, this is why meditation is so important for me. Within that continuum, I create a frequency, and this is my communication to the universe. And that frequency allows me to tune into certain channels, allow other people to tune into me through the activity, or I call the law of Goya, the get off your ass, create this intention. I start calling or attracting things that I want. Within the context of what I just explained, where are there holes in my philosophy, strategies, and understanding, or where can you help me understand it better? And more importantly, how does that, obviously I meditate every day to find my highest frequency at the beginning of the day. That frequency is a plateau and growth strategy that I am continually expanding and growing only if I allow myself to see a baseline. I believe your product, right, it allows me to find that frequency easier, and in a difficult practice of meditation, a tool that helps to focus people on what we have the capability of doing. Now
Well,
unpack all that.
that was so much to unpack. So I'm going to start right at the beginning at meditation.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where we end up from there. So meditation from a neuroscience perspective is an exercise that's actually changing your brain. So inside of our mind, we have something called the default mode network. It's the connection between the prefrontal cortex and the posterior cingulate cortex back here, and it's the chatter that goes on in our brain at all times. It's just sort of the internal dialogue, the monkey mind, the little voice that goes blah, 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 blah inside your head all day long. And often that little voice is telling you negative, unproductive, and unhelpful things. It's the internalized voice of your mother saying, you should have made your bed, your hair looks stupid, you're not going to do well enough. The worry, all of these things, the rumination, that's all in the default mode network. So in meditation, what we see from a neuroscience perspective, when you put somebody in an MRI, is you see a deactivation of the default mode network. So you see a decrease in the internal chatter inside your mind, which then opens up the possibility for directing your mind in places where you choose for it to go. So rather than it going on the default loop over and over again, the voice of your mother saying, you'll never be good enough, you can be like, we're going to quiet all that. We're going to open the space for internal reflection that is deeper and more meaningful, that is purposeful, and we're going to open up all of the space to make a different set of choices. So that's one thing that goes on in meditation. The second thing that goes on in the brain during meditation is a quieting of our limbic system. So prefrontal cortex, front of your brain right here, it's the thing that allows us to plan, to organize. It is our higher order thinking. It is the thing that separates us from all other mammals, that we've got this amazing ability to really think, to make ideas, to bring ideas together, to be creative. In the middle of your head here is something called the amygdala. So the amygdala is the part of your brain that's constantly scanning for danger. And so it's looking around and finding any danger or any hint of danger or any perceived danger. So it might be real dangers, fires, the hot stove that you forgot to turn off. It might be social dangers like, uh-oh, that person doesn't like me, or, do I have something on my face and should that cause me to be embarrassed? Or it might be completely perceived dangers like, oh, I have a wrinkle in my pants, I'm going into a meeting, the world is going to end. And our amygdala can't really differentiate between all of these things. And so our amygdala is constantly firing, causing stress and anxiety in our lives, telling us these stories of watch out over there, watch out for this person, watch out for a virus, watch out for all of this stuff. And it causes us to spend all of our time and mental energy focused in this place of the negative, looking for the worries, looking for the concerns. In a meditation practice, what you're actually doing is you're strengthening your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your mind associated also with wisdom, and it is actually down-regulating your amygdala. It is actually telling your amygdala to, shh, calm down, it's okay, everything's fine. Even if it's not fine, we'll figure it out, but you don't need to freak out now. Shh, it's okay. So again, it's quieting all of these negative voices because the amygdala is tuned towards negativity. It's tuned to look for problems. And it's giving you the choice and opportunity to choose what you want to have happening inside your mind. So Meditation's been shown to actually strengthen the prefrontal cortex, change the size of the amygdala. It's also been shown to increase the corpus callosum, which is the connections between the left and right brain. It's been shown to increase activity in the hippocampus, which is the part of your brain associated with learning and memory. And it's been shown to increase the density of your gray matter, which is the number of connections inside your brain.
That's remarkable. The only thing that comes to mind, and understanding the brain like you do, in putting it into the context of the simplification of what I think, most of the brain is creating interference. I call interference or corrosion to this great source of light, love, and lessons. And so in my hypothesis of existence is that we're all connected to this great source. And it seems within the context that our brain is that which allows us to effectively communicate with this source. And it has, as much as you know about the brain, we probably know, I don't know what percentage, but a tiny, tiny percent of what it actually can do within the context. I think the level of understanding we have of the brain would be like, if we were analogous to the body, these are fingers and they're known for picking up things. This is your tongue and it tastes things. That's like the rudimentary understanding of this unbelievable, powerful mechanism called the brain. But no matter what, I still rely on a dependent variable of what the brain is connected to. Is there, through your studies, is there anything, because I think that's why meditation is so important, is in the aspect of working out all these parts of the brain. If they were muscles, you'd be working out the bicep, the tricep, etc. There has to be a purpose, to having this better brain by utilizing meditation. So for you and your understanding of the brain, what is the purpose of, working out the brain in this inner size mechanism in, my concept compared to something you may know or share with us?
Sure. So what you've said may be entirely true. Science has not gotten there yet, but I can tell you our science has gotten and the things that we show. So the brain meditation strengthens the part of your brain associated with perspective taking and compassion. So when you meditate, you're more able to be compassionate towards another person. You're more able to take on their perspective. When we downregulate the amygdala, the habits and behaviors that come out of that and perspectives that come out of that are ones of openness, ones of connection, ones of loving engagement. Because when we're in fight or flight, our habit is to shut down. It's to protect the self. It's to create boundaries between one another and oneself and the world. It's to shut in and lock down. And when we start a meditation practice and we downregulate the activity of the amygdala, we're far more likely to be generous. We're far more likely to be open to one another. We're far more likely to be open to the possibilities of ourselves and the world. We're far more likely to take positive and safe risks in our life because we're not afraid of the world. And so all of that opens you for the possibility of connection to all sorts of things, connection to your man, connection to something greater. And so that's what science knows about meditation. What it may be doing in terms of opening up for the connection to something very specific that's greater, could well be happening. We just haven't documented it yet.
It's phenomenal because two things come to mind. One, it actually allows you to be more happy, right? I'm a simple person.
Yes.
All the things you describe that it allows you to do are the things that create happiness. And as you know, that's my mission in life, is to help empower people to be happy. And that's why meditation is so important to me. The other thing that was really interesting, and I'd love for you to help explain this, the biggest challenge with meditation, and I had this 14 years ago when I started meditating. I was motivated to meditate because I was told it could raise my awareness. I theta meditate, and as a quantum healer now, but I was told I could raise my awareness, and my only motivation was to raise my awareness when to buy or sell. And I was very money motivated. And now that has evolved over the